Hi people, and hello my Chilicon Carnage crew. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but this is a reaction video. It's been a while because, well, I got a copyright claim and I decided to hold off on it for just a little bit and wait for the copyright claim to just time out. So finally, to celebrate the copyright claim going in null and void, I am deciding to do a reaction video where I could possibly get a claim. So I don't know how this will go, but yeah, so that's why I've been holding off on doing some reaction videos, I guess, recently. But you know, here we go. We'll see how we go, and I'll probably just play it a bit more cautiously moving forward. This video that I want to do moving on is from Bradley Hall. He's a fantastic YouTuber. Recommend going to check out his channel. Link will be below as well. In regards to his original video, this one is the most iconic, best and worst, things of each of these 30 iconic metal bands. So let's dig into this video. Alright, the best and worst things about each of these 30 iconic metal bands. Let's see how we go. Of course, we're going to start off with Metallica. Easy target. Here we go.
Metallica. Even though Sabbath invented metal, without a doubt, no other band on the planet has helped shape the genre as much as Metallica have.
That's true, yes. Metallica is probably the biggest metal band in existence. You know, their fan base is just numerous. There are so many fans when it comes to Metallica. Oh, good, I just chose this. The background I just noticed in Kirk there, who had his birthday recently. Happy birthday, Kirk. I think he turned 60. But yes, they have shaped metal pretty much second only to Black Sabbath, so fair point in regards to this.
It's hard to believe the Kirk Hammett that was on the classic albums is the same Kirk Hammett that played on the last two records. Sounds like he really can't be bothered anymore.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit of a that's a sour note to go on. It's true. Kirk is his style anyway. He's just been pretty much relying on that the wah sound effect for the last couple of albums anyway. Everything since like Black Album, and yeah, it's kind of disappointing. But then again, I mean, everything since the Black Album has been various styles of the band that I find interesting. You know, they're not stale, they're not one-dimensional. Load Reload, what for its faults, has quite a, you know, difference to it. So yeah, fair point. Fair point, yes. You know, you go back to the early 80s stuff and you're like, shit, this is Kirk. And then you go past the 90s stuff, you're like, shit, is this Kirk? So fair point.
Megadeth. Rest in Peace is the greatest metal album ever made, and the band's history of lead guitarists is unmatched.
I beg to differ. But it is a very good, yes, it's a very good album, but I would not call it the best metal album ever made. Don't know what I would actually, but definitely not that one.
Besides their classic 90s albums, Dave Mustaine's vocals are completely unlistenable.
Yep. Yeah, that's very, yeah, Dave's vocals have very much so gone downhill, and I think it's pretty obvious, particularly on his most recent album. I don't know how many takes or how much editing was required. His vocals were just not there. He also did suffer, didn't he have throat cancer? Yeah, he had throat cancer recently, so I mean, let's just face it, you know, Dave's not going to sound anywhere near like he did back in the 90s. He's still got that anger with him, he's still got that passion, but yeah, look, Dave is not, he's past his prime, that's for sure. Alright.
Besides their classic 90s albums, Dave Mustaine's vocals are completely unlistenable. Lamb of God. You can't deny that they have some of the best riffs in metal.
Yep, they do have some incredible riffs. I've seen Lamb of God, actually. They opened for Metallica for the Death Magnetic tour, and yeah, I managed to catch a few of their songs, Laid to Rest and stuff like that. 11th Hour was the first album I got of theirs. I've still got to get around to listening to their recent album. I did not have time to review it, if that's what you're wondering. So yeah, I've really got to go into it. I think I checked out one of their songs from the album, the single. I did a reaction to it, but I really need to get back into that one. I haven't heard anything out of that latest album. Alright.
There's not all that much variation between their songs,
yeah.
So there's only so much you can listen to before they get...
I was going to make that point, yeah, there's not much variation. You can go to like their best of on Spotify or something, you know, this is Lamb of God, for example, and you play 10 songs and be like, wait, that was 10 songs, I thought it was all the same. Yeah, it gets very similar, very often, and that's, I guess, like I was saying back to Metallica, you know, they varied it up and changed it up, and yeah, the fans might say, oh, everything past Black Album sucks, but at least it doesn't sound the same, you know. Lamb of God, for 20 years, it just sounds like all of it's the same. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get hate on that one.
Get a bit boring. Slayer. They're one of those few bands that are so legendary that their reputation and cultural status holds more weight than their actual music.
I'm going to guess the negative they'll say is the guitar solos. I'm just going on a guess there. But yes, Slayer's reputation precedes them. They are just mammoths within the industry, of course. I caught Slayer at their last tour in Australia at the Download Festival 2019. Absolutely incredible mosh pit to be part of. You know, that surge when they played Angel of Death was just incredible, and just everything about the concert was amazing. You know, Tom Araya stood around for probably 15 minutes after, while everyone was just applauding what they had just seen. They have such a reputation, and I think they did choose a good time to get out. Because, you know, Repentless was one of their best albums they had put out, at least their best album probably in the last 20, 25 years. And, you know what, I would probably say it's in maybe their top 3 albums of all time. So to put it out, that last album, and then just say, yeah, we're done, fair call to the lads, you know. Let's see what the negative is.
They had already lost their shock value by the 90s and quickly turned into a parody of themselves.
Okay, not the angle I thought it was. I thought they were going to say something about the solos, which are pretty simplistic, and that is a true thing, seriously. But, yeah, shock value by the 90s, yeah. There's only so much shock you can do for a decade, I guess, you know, when your angle is, you know, Hell Awaits, and you move on to Rain in Blood, you know. There's only so much shock. You look forward to the next millennium, for example, and Marilyn Manson was the next shock. It wasn't blood and gore. It was, you know, this androgynous individual on an album cover where you can't tell if it was a man or a woman, and shit, you know, how that would come back decades later would be, I guess, interesting in this day and age. But, you know, like, moss doesn't grow on a rolling stone. You know, there's always another thing, there's another edge. You know, Madonna was shocking in the 80s. Madonna is not shocking now. Lady Gaga and all them were shocking. Now they're not. There's always something that just, it's always pushing the boundary. So, yeah, that was always going to be the case, I guess.
Slipknot. It's impressive how they managed to take such an extreme genre-bending sound, but still somehow make it pretty commercial and accessible.
That's very true. Yeah, Slipknot have created a sound that's tiptoeing the lines of so many genres. You know, I don't want to say anything that'll get me bombarded, but almost death metal in areas, almost, I mean, it's very heavy metal. It is pretty much heavy metal, but you know, like the early stuff was new metal. Some of their stuff can just get into just guttural screams and stuff, and it's like they just said there, the genres that they just come into here are just kind of tiptoeing on the edge. So, and to make it accessible, fantastic. You know, if this is your band that got you into other bands, all power to you. I mean, you know, Metallica was my band that got me into other bands. Nothing wrong with what you want to listen to, and yeah, you know, Slipknot's still a kick-ass band, despite their recent album.
Corey Taylor is probably one of the most truly unbearable people on the planet.
Okay, there's I don't know about that, but yeah, he's a very opinionated musician, let's just say that.
Sabbath. They were the first band to play metal as we recognise it today.
Very true, they created heavy metal, no argument about that.
The way Ozzy always sang in unison with the guitar riff sounds incredibly dumb. Iron Maiden.
It was the style. You look at rock in the 70s, and I guess that's just how it was. Now, and I don't know. I mean, that guy has just gone through so much over the decades. I got nothing to add to that.
Maiden. Nothing comes close to their run of albums in the 80s. Complete classic metal perfection.
Up until about the point of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I just didn't like it after that. Yep, highly controversial, but I don't know. Somewhere back in time, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. But they did have, like 5 albums there, and it was just amazing. Alright, what do they say here?
They really need to stop this horrible phase of trying to be a prog band and just go back to writing some nice, catchy bangers.
Yes. Yes, and that's the point I made on my recent review of Senjutsu. They just did... What is it? That album was like 100 minutes long. It goes over 2 discs if you're buying physical media. All these songs are like 10 minutes in excess. You know, even the Book of Souls was another album that was. I like the Book of Souls. That was a really good album. But sometimes they just kind of feel a bit lost. You know what? I mean, it was interesting because I was listening to Iron Maiden just earlier today. You know, Ghost of the Navigator, and I feel like when Bruce Dickinson came back for that second wave of Iron Maiden, it's almost this perfect Brave New World. It's almost that perfect comeback album. You know, they didn't try to be too proggy, which is what they would do eventually down the line. You know, Dance of Death and all that. Passchendaele's a mad song, but you know, some of these songs they just crap on for a couple of 16 minutes, some of them, and you're like, okay, you guys did tiptoe it back in the day, but you only tried it once. So yeah, very, very true. Just write some simple 5-minute bangers, boys. I know you can do it. Please.
Children of Bodom. They were a
I haven't listened to much Children of Bodom, so I don't know how much I can add to this.
truly unique and original band with insanely talented musicians and songwriting ability.
I'll take your word for it.
Unfortunately, Alexi's musical talents didn't translate over into lyrical writing, to say the least.
I'll take your word for it again. I really need to listen to Children of Bodom. I don't know.
Gojira, one of the
Oh, here we go.
most instantly recognisable bands of the modern era, and an extremely exciting band to see live.
And I'll be seeing them live in a week's time, or by the time this thing pops out in probably 3 or 4 days, at the Download Festival. So I am super keen to be seeing Gojira. Deftones will be performing there as well. I'm hoping not at the same time, because I'm going to make a very tough decision on which band to see, but I would love to go see Gojira because holy moly, they, like you said, one of the most recognisable bands. Yes, their riffs, their sound, and it's very hard to be recognisable in this day and age when everyone's trying everything, I guess. So, yep, very much so. I can't wait to see them live.
Something about their music is lost when just casually listening to them at home or on headphones. They really need to be seen live or listened to on a huge audio system.
Okay, fair note. I mean, I don't know. I disagree. I guess when I'm listening to them, I pay attention.
Avenged Sevenfold. These guys
Oh, yeah, this will be interesting.
are some of the best songwriters and producers in metal and helped make flashy guitar playing cool again.
I've only listened to like 1 or 2 of their albums, to be honest, and that was the Nightmare album. I'm trying to think. That's the one with Dream Theater's drum. Mike Portney performed drumming duties after the death of their previous drummer, and that was the reason why I listened to that album, because of that. You know, Mike Portney, amazing drummer, coming up with this amazing band. So that was pretty much the only reason. I did love that album. They had some kick-ass songs. After that, yeah, they did alright, but it's not really one I've just paid attention to, unfortunately. Someone I knew was a massive fan of Avenged Sevenfold, so if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Those stage names are absolutely atrocious and belong in some corny amateur Twilight fanfiction.
Stage names? I'm guessing, what, stage names? What are they talking about, like band names or something? I don't know.
Tool. The band have an incredible
Oh, this is going to be...
artistic vision and have made some of the best music videos of all time.
Very true.
If you're not jacked up on hallucinogens, then their music is incredibly snoozeworthy.
Shut up. Them's fighting words. No, it's not. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to sound like that angry Tool fan that disagrees with everything that you say, but that is complete and utter bullshit. 46-2, come on now. I mean, that is such a generic statement. Oh, whatever. I'm going to sound like an angry Tool fan. I'm not. It's not true. Just simple. Prison Sex. Come on now. How can he not like 46-2, Prison Sex, Opiate? I mean, right in 2. The build-up is insane on that one, you know. 10,000 Days. The whole Jamubi, you know. I mean, that whole album. God. Anyway, I disagree.
Dragon Force. They injected a
Wanky guitar solos. I'm betting.
much needed dose of fun into the metal world and helped make guitar shred popular again.
Yeah, they did. Look, when Dragon Force was in Guitar Hero, everyone was like, holy shit, have you played that song on extremely hard? Like, no one can do it 100%. And yeah, it's a joke. But anyway.
The excitement they created at their peak has long since worn off, and kinda sounds like they've been running on empty for many years now.
To be honest, I don't think I've listened to an entire Dragon Force album. I mean, Through the Fire and Flames, or whatever that song is like, it's a cool song. It was a song I listened to, back because it was on that game. But after that, I just never really got into them. So, yeah, I don't know. And shredding bands are not my thing. For example, what is it? The review I did on Yngwie Malmsteen is just a shredder, and I don't particularly appreciate the style. It's not my style, shredding. I don't like it. It's very nuanced style. I prefer, more emotion when it comes to guitar solos. Anyway.
No. Mastodon.
Oh, gonna hit a nerve here.
Honestly can't think of any other band besides Metallica who have created so many legendary guitar riffs.
Okay. Yeah. They do have some very epic guitarists. I don't want to know what the con's going to be. I don't want to know.
They're a textbook example of how purposefully diluting your sound to try and reach a wider audience is a terrible idea.
Fair point, actually, because, yeah, their recent album just wasn't that good. Yeah, it was a long album. And I remember I was trying to listen to it on a long drive home, and I was just fatigued. Not from the long drive, but from the album. 15 songs, like 5 minutes a piece, and I'm just like, fuck this, skip. And it was... There's a reason why I made a playlist of just 10 songs from that album. I don't care about 5 of the tracks. That's 1/3 of that recent album. The other ones before that, though... You know what? I haven't gone back to it in a while. So, yeah, they're kind of getting a bit generic. Fair point there, yeah. They used to be borderline pushing trends and stuff like that. I still think that they haven't made any bad albums. They've done only good albums. But the recent ones have been a bit...
Opeth.
Opeth is another band I've only listened to a little bit of.
No one could touch this band at their peak in the 2000s. I can't think of many other bands who have written 6 near-perfect albums in a row.
Black Sabbath. Just trying to think of one, sorry. 6 near-perfect albums in a row. Anyway. Wasn't a big Opeth fan. I mean, the thing is, you've just missed the entire 90s era of the band as well. And they've gone through a fair bit of stylistic changes, so I wonder if they're going to bring that up in the next point.
It was a huge middle finger to their fan base when they did a U-turn on their style after Watershed and decided to become an overly self-indulgent 70s roleplay band.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that was around about the time that they changed producer to, Steven Wilson? I know he produced a few of their albums, and that influenced his band's style. Porcupine Tree changed it to a much more heavier style, with like Fear of Blank Planet and stuff like that. And I think in turn, they also shifted their style a little bit. Opeth is one of those unique bands because there's like Jekyll and Hyde. You've got like the super aggressive metal side of them, and then you got the acoustic-y clean vocal side of them, and that's what I find so interesting about them, because like I think I've only ever played 1 or 2 albums in full, and I don't know which albums are the which, and it's kind of like, what am I going to get when I listen to them? I think there's some playlists out there by some people who have done like acoustic Opeth and then metal Opeth, and depending on how I feel, it's like, oh, maybe I feel like acoustic side, maybe I feel like the metal side, and I think the album I first bought of theirs was Coil. I don't think it was Watershed. Anyway, got it for like $2 at a petrol station.
Sugar, probably the biggest brain musicians on the planet.
Yeah, they're certainly next level with their thinking.
They influenced a whole legion of awful, awful copycat bands.
Who? Comment below. I don't know they're referring... I don't know who in particular they're referring to. I can't... Like Devin Townsend? Because he was around the same time as Miss Sugar. I don't know who in particular. But anyway...
Behemoth. Their music videos are
Oof, Behemoth is going to be interesting. I've seen them live too. Interesting. Actually, I didn't even hear their music. I saw them live performing, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys are wickedly awesome. Then I went back and listened to Wolves of Siberia. Very good album.
fucking amazing, and the band's aesthetic is super cool. They take themselves far too seriously and often come across unintentionally funny because of it.
Yeah, when you wear corpse paint on stage, yeah, you're going to be like that a bit. Oh, Rammstein. Here we go.
Rammstein, probably one of the least likely success stories in metal. How a German-speaking band managed to make industrial music a major mainstream success is an incredible feat in itself.
Yeah, they kind of did the Slipknot before Slipknot did the Slipknot. Commercial access to industrial German-speaking metal. That is quite a story unto itself. If Rammstein was made into a film, that would be sick. Screw Bohemian Rhapsody, I want to see Mein Teal. What would be the name of the bloody movie? Mein Teal? Seriously? Mein... Du hast? Du hast mein Music? I don't know. Here we go.
If the band doesn't click with you, then their music probably sounds like completely ridiculous.
And the visuals too. If you go to their bloody stage, you're going to get burnt. You're going to get third-degree burns if you're standing like 20 meters away. It's an inferno. I swear they use more freaking fuel inside their stadium than they do at like the Bathurst 1000. Yeah, that's true though. But shit, that's like any other band. If you don't click with like Slipknot, then you're thinking, who the hell is this? If you don't click with Metallica or Megadeth or Black Sabbath, that's the same point. Meh. Could have gone with any other point there, couldn't you? If you don't speak German, for example. I don't know. Whatever.
Nightwish. They were
Ooh,
a
Nightwish.
truly original band back in the day and single-handedly popularized the symphonic female-fronted genre.
They did. They did a lot of stuff back in the day. Very big ballady, long songs there. Fantastic pause. I think they've had 3 singers now. I check on their pages every so often, but it's like, I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've checked them out. But I think I listened to one of their recent albums, and it was like a whole album was one song split into 12 tracks or something. I don't know. Kind of had a minor resurgence as well when they did that live concert in I want to say Finland, but it's probably Denmark, somewhere in Europe anyway. And they did, I can't remember the name of the song. It's not Phantom of the Opera. Nemo or something like that. Anyway, the concert was just massive. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Tarja's vocals were like nails on a bloody chalkboard. Thank God for Floor.
Yeah.
System of a Down.
Oh,
It's
here we go.
amazing that they became such a massive cultural phenomenon with so few albums and very little activity. And even now, their sound is still completely unique.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's tried to emulate that style. Like only System of a Down could emulate their style, of course. There's quite an interesting little feat there, because they surely would have influenced a lot of bands coming up through the music scenes now, and you don't hear too much like covers or anything of their music. So that's a fair point.
The two frontmen are grade A narcissists who have always put their own egos before the band and its fans.
So true. So many levels. Oh. Like, how long have we waited for bloody Armenian democracy to come out? Too long. We had 2 new songs recently, but that was probably about a year and a half ago now.
Cannibal Corpse. They were instrumental in bringing death metal to a wider audience and are one of those rare examples of extreme bands that are known even by the mainstream.
I've always known Cannibal Corpse. I've never gotten into them. I just can't.
The shock factor wore off a long time ago, and they haven't really done anything relevant in many years.
Again though, shock value doesn't matter. Like, anything that's shocking now is not going to be shocking in 10 years' time, I guarantee it.
Lorna Shore. They're one of those
Who?
few modern extreme metal bands who are actually doing something genuinely exciting. The way
Lorna Shore. I'm going to check them out after this.
their songs stop and start every 30 seconds is really
Maybe I won't. Just from that note about stop start, that's metalcore. Fuck, I hate that.
Annoying. Ghost.
That's why I just don't like metalcore scenes, because of the way it just stops, start, waiting for a drop, and it's like, stop teasing me and play the fucking song.
Tobias Forge is actually a songwriting genius.
He is.
They need to stop that nameless gold bullshit. No one cares about their gimmicks anymore.
Tend. Fuck off. Yes, they do.
Death. Chuck's Banshee vocals were insane, and his style of riffing was hugely influential.
Okay, as far as death metal bands go, Death, which is an awesome name for a death metal band, is probably one of those bands I'm like, yeah, not bad.
Their prog phase in the latter stages of their career was f***ing terrible.
I don't really know too much about their latter stage, to be honest. I think I've only listened to 3 albums. And they've only got like 5 albums anyway.
Sabaton. The band
Shit.
just have such an unrelenting, feel-good energy to them that always makes you want to stomp around.
Yeah, okay.
Their lyrics are so horrendous, I would honestly have thought they were a comedy band if I hadn't heard them before.
To be honest, that's what I thought they were at first. Like, Sabaton, they're talking about history. This is going to be funny, isn't it? Kind of like, 80s hair metal bands. No, they're very serious.
Judas Priest. Rob Halford's vocals are unmatched. Truly one of the most iconic voices ever.
Kind of like a King Diamond, very unique.
On stage, the band are about as mobile as a sack of potatoes.
I'm trying to think. I seen them back again in 2019, and I mean, Rob, despite his age and everything, he was still pretty mobile. He even got the motorbike out during Painkiller, and I'm just trying to think, because I remember I was waiting for Slayer, and their stage was over there, so I was catching them on a side glance. But yeah, I guess so. I don't think they moved too much.
Pantera, easily in the top 5 most influential metal bands ever, featuring some of the greatest metal guitar playing ever recorded.
Except for their first 4 albums.
The band are a bunch of extremely unlikable asshats.
And they will also be in a live recording, which by the time this pops out would have already been out, so check out my live recording for this.
Dream Theater. They're such great musicians that even to this day, their classic albums
This will be interesting.
are still the best examples of prog metal ever written.
I'll be interested. Yes, 4 of the most talented musicians put into a band. That's what I sum up with Dream Theater. I'll be interested to hear what the negative is about them.
Mike Portnoy's personality was a big part of what made the band so good, and they just haven't been the same since he left.
Not going to argue there. Mike Portnoy was amazing. And when he left the band, or was unceremoniously kicked out, yeah, they've kind of lost, a personality within them. They wrote some pretty good stuff. The most recent album, what was it called? Awaken? No. It's the one about aliens or something. Anyway, the most recent album wasn't too bad, but the ones before that were just shit. They had 5 albums, and it was just all terrible.
Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, no. No.
They have Andy James on guitar, one of the best shredders in the business.
I'll have to take your word for it.
Don't even know how to be witty about this one. Their songs are just absolute knuckle-dragging, far-right, pandering cringe.
Yeah, I think I've heard 3 songs of them, and I just don't give a shit about their music. Do have to give props, though. I did see a video recently of Five Finger Death Punch where, can't think of the guy's name, but lead singer, what's it, Shaddix or something, whatever. Anyway, the lead singer stopped a show because someone had a seizure in the crowd, and not even the security guys knew how to handle it, and he jumped down and started administering first aid. I will give him props for that. Other than that, from everything I've heard, absolute arsehat.
Mayhem. Much like Slayer, they're one of those few bands that are so legendary that their reputation and cultural status holds more weight than their actual music.
Their actual music is shit. I'm just going to put that out there. It's terrible. They, God, their fan base is real. How do I word this one? Gatekeeper. Got the biggest gatekeepers in the metal industry. If you don't live and breathe everything that they do, you're not part of it. Especially way back when their music was being written, there was a pretty good in-depth, not research, freaking video about Mayhem and the kind of steps that their fans were taking in the 90s, and it's crazy. It's like, if anyone tells me, oh yeah, metal's crazy, I'm like, yeah, metal can be crazy, but have you heard of Mayhem? Like, that's the craziest of the crazies. They are just on another level.
When you listen to their music objectively, forgetting about their history and stuff, you soon realise they were actually pretty awful.
They were shit and overrated. I am saying that now.
Alright, mate! Do that! Do that! Then do that!
You should do that and do that and do that for him and me. Okay. That was pretty sick, though. That was a really good video there. I'm not going to lie, that was really entertaining. There is another one as well, so, I mean, if you like that video, tell me and I'll react, because there's another video here. You probably saw it in the corner if I didn't edit it out, which is the best and worst things about each of these 30 iconic rock bands, and they're talking about, obviously, classical rock and all that jazz. So, if you're interested in me doing a reaction to another one of Bradley Hall's videos, let me know below, and maybe I'll do another reaction. As said before, check out his content as well. Does some incredibly funny stuff there. So, yeah, absolutely incredible YouTuber there. Alright, and thank you very much for tuning into this episode of these reactions. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so, I didn't realise it. Shit, is that how long it's been? My gosh, talk about milking a 5-minute video into a 31-minute live stream. Alright then, I should have to end this shortly. So, anyway, everyone out there, hope you have a great day. Stay spicy. Don't forget to subscribe to us. Have a great day. Stay spicy. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chili Con Carnage crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter over at Live Listener Race, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.